Drop a spoon of sugar into a glass of water and stir. The sugar seems to disappear, but it's still there. So where did it go? Let's go a little deeper. When a substance dissolves in another, it forms a solution. The substance that dissolves is called the solute, and the substance that does the dissolving is the solvent. In this case, sugar is the solute and water is the solvent. But wait, here's something even more interesting. Just because something can dissolve doesn't mean it can dissolve forever. The amount of solute present in a solution is called its concentration. A small amount gives a dilute solution. A large amount gives a concentrated one. Now imagine adding more and more sugar to the same glass of water. At first, it keeps dissolving, but eventually, extra sugar sinks to the bottom. That point is called saturation. The solution can't hold any more solute at that temperature. Let's go a little deeper again. If you want to reduce concentration, you don't remove solute, you add more solvent. This process is called dilution. That's how juices are mixed, medicines are prepared, and chemicals are handled safely in labs. Here's the key idea. Whether something dissolves or not depends on the nature of the solute and solvent. Like dissolves like. Polar substances dissolve in polar solvents, and nonpolar substances dissolve in nonpolar solvents. That's why oil and water refuse to mix, no matter how hard you stir. Let's connect this to real life. Why does salt dissolve in water but sand doesn't? Why does hot water dissolve sugar faster? Why do medicines come in specific concentrations? All of these answers come from understanding solutions and solubility. Before we wrap up, zoom out for a moment. Solutions are everywhere. In blood, oceans, fuels, and cleaning products. They control reactions, measurements, and chemical analysis. And that leads to the next question. If substances dissolve and mix, how do we measure acidity and basicity in solutions? That's exactly where we go next.